My name is Isaac Iverson,
I'm Kyle Savage.
And I'm Corey Taylor.
and we are Stark Industries. Today we are here to explain a brand new exciting product for you to help the school in general. Next slide. So on this first slide, you will see a brief overview of what we plan on talking about today. We're going to start with an introduction, explaining a little about Stark Industries. What are we all about? And what exactly are we planning to accomplish with this application? We're going to go over the problem that exists and how this application will specifically solve that problem. We're going to go over the different objectives and goals that we have as a company, and also our plan to achieve those goals. Next, we have a budget all laid out for you, ready to go, with an explanation of how we plan on spending the money that you're going to give us, and how that's going to be used. The next section is about the personnel and our qualifications. Why you should pay us and why we should get this project done for you. The last section is about the facility and equipment that will be required in order to complete this project. Next slide.
All right, I would like to talk a little bit, or we would like to explain who we are. We are Stark Industries, and our mission statement is that we are committed to improving life through the creation of tools meant to increase efficiency and safety.
So, there exists a problem in Rexburg where there's no public transportation. Students cannot get where they need to go quickly. And we are here to propose an application, a ride-sharing program that will facilitate the transportation of students from point A to point B.
Yep. And we are not an inexperienced team. You might like to know some of our past successes include the MX300 walking cane, a GPS-enabled cane voiced by Michael Caine that informs the wielder whether they are warmer or colder in relation to their chosen destination.
Next slide.
Next.
All right. To expand upon what Isaac had just said, our problem statement, or the problem that we are addressing, is that there is no public transportation in Rexburg, Idaho. And currently there is a large portion of the student population at BYU, Idaho, that does not own a vehicle. And this causes a problem when they want to go to a store or a restaurant or the movies or any location in town, or possibly beyond town to Idaho Falls, or maybe even further out than that. But they just don't have that public transportation available. And so our solution is this application that will provide students a way to be able to get a ride and work with people who do have vehicles to find a ride to locations both near and far from Rexburg.
And for security, we're thinking, when are students most likely to have the time to go to the store? In the evening. Their classes are over and they're free to take care of their personal needs. Walking a couple miles at night with handfuls of groceries is dangerous, even in Rexburg. Now, you won't just be picking up any old person off the streets. It will be connected with the school's system and student registrations and I-numbers. And so you will be, only drivers will be able to pick up other BYU Idaho students, and they will have user profiles, and so you can look at who you're going to pick up, read a little description about them, and you won't be going into this completely blind. There will be some peace of mind and some security before this. You will feel safe whether you're the driver or passenger to and from your location, and definitely safer than if you had been walking at night with groceries in your hands.
Next slide. So, another big issue that goes along with transportation is the cost of owning a vehicle. On average, just an average size sedan, your regular old Ford Taurus or something along those lines, costs about $9,000 a year to operate. And that's the cost of gas, maintenance, and just everything that goes along with owning a car. Now, students, they have lots of costs. First of all, they're typically, they're living away from home, so they have to pay for rent every month, every semester. They have to pay for their food. They have to pay for their tuition if they're not receiving, these amazing scholarships. And then on top of all those things, owning a vehicle, just that makes it incredibly difficult for a student to function, within those price ranges. So this application, this BYU iRide Share program, will allow for students to bypass some of that cost by simply paying a small fee to get a ride with somebody else in the store, so they don't have to worry about it. And essentially, the big picture is eventually this will completely replace the ride board and allow students to travel even further distances in a safe and secure manner with other students from Brigham Young University, Idaho. Next slide. So we have several main objectives that we want to accomplish with over the lifetime of this project. Ultimately, we want to create a program that allows students to, join forces with other students to go to the store, to go to restaurants and things like that. And ultimately, we want to replace the ride board that the school currently hosts. Those are long-term goals. Within the first couple of years, we want to start this project this September. And within, by November 2016, we want to have this completely done and ready for distribution. We're going to go over a little bit more on how we plan on doing this and the timelines in the next section. But know that our main goal is to complete this program, this application for our phones, by the end of November 2016.
By the end of 2017, we plan to have 20% of the student population download the application, and we think this is very reasonable. We can work with the university to advertise the application, as well as many other sources within Rexburg. It's a very close-knit community. There's a lot of places that we could advertise that students would see. There's rooms or even just stores and shops around the area. I'm sure they would have no problem with the school advertising that. So we think 20% is a very reachable figure and a very reasonable one.
All right, and then one of our other objectives is we plan on maintaining a user retention rate of 70%. And we will achieve this rate through a focus on excellent customer service, using a friendly user interface.
And just to add to that, we also plan on we plan on being very active with the users of this application. We want to hear from them and implement their feedback. And by so doing, we'll create an environment where they feel like they're being heard and they feel like the application is working as it should. And that will ultimately drive them to come back and use it constantly. Next slide. So on this chart right here, you can see how we plan, or the timeline for the completion of this application. So when everything is funded, we will start September. And we're going to spend the first about 6 months entirely on the development of the application. We feel like this is a good amount of time where we can really plan out the user interface, and we can spend a lot of time making sure we code it correctly, and that when the product is first released, we'll be able to release it, the final build soon after. So we're going to spend about a good solid 6 months on that actual development. The next phases of our timeline include alpha testing, bug fixing, improvements overall. After that first alpha testing phase, we're going to have lots of user feedback. We're going to hear what they want from the application, and we're going to hear, things that they didn't like, and we're going to be able to make improvements during that time period. After those improvements and bug fixes are implemented, we're going to go into the beta testing phase. Now, this phase is going to involve a much larger group than the alpha testing phase, and hopefully we'll be able to get good feedback, and we'll have most of the bugs worked out by the time that beta testing commences. Once the beta testing is finished, we're going to do some final bug testing, some final bug fixes, and we're going to get this product nice and wrapped up and ready for its final shipment. and that will ideally be done by November 2016. Next slide.
All right. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the budget. So the budget for this project will require has two different main categories. The first being the development costs, which is in blue on the PowerPoint, and then there's the maintenance costs, which is in red. So I'll talk first about the development costs. The development costs will mainly consist of the salaries for the developing programmers and the project manager. So working about 2,400 hours on this project at a rate of roughly $30 per hour for the developing programmers. That ends up being about $144,000 over the course of the year for the developing programmers. As far as the project manager, that ends up being about $84,000. Totaling for the total cost for salary is about $228,000 for that. As far as equipment is involved, there will be a one-time user fee for distribution from Google Play, and there'll be the cost of buying a server, which will be about $849 for that. And then to talk about the other category, which is continuing costs and maintenance. So we expect that labor for the server, to take care of the server, will be about $41,800. And then the prorated maintenance or cost for parts will come up to be about $200. And then to help out with the budget, to help out these costs, there will be a small user fee for the application to help take care of some of these costs.
Exactly. So what that small fee is when someone offers a ride and the other person accepts that ride, they're going to pay $1, $2, and then a portion of that money paid towards the ride will actually go towards the maintenance cost. So ultimately, this project will not end up costing the school very much money as we get more users and as it's adopted by the students. Next slide.
All right, so a little bit about ourselves individually. I'm Corey Taylor, and I'm a computer engineering major. I have experience with C++, C, Java, Python, as well as others. I was the lead programmer and designer behind the MX300 Michael Caine, and I will be in charge of the overall project, overseeing deadlines, project specifications, finances, and will serve as a liaison between Stark Industries and the BYU Idaho administration. I'm confident in my skills and believe that together, I think we can deliver a sound product. Next slide.
All right, now a little bit about me. I am Kyle Savage. I'm an electrical engineer. We're studying electrical engineering at BYU Idaho, senior. I'm going to graduate in April. I have strong knowledge of C++, Swift, and Objective-C. I was previously employed with Liberty AV Solutions. I was in charge of developing huddle room applications for communication, and I will be in charge of some of the development of the software.
Next slide. And my name is Isaac Iverson. I'm also an electrical engineering student at Brigham Young University, Idaho. I'm an electrical engineer major, but I've spent much of my time in working with C++ and programming. Specifically, I worked on some games for the phone, for Android, and things like that. So I'm no stranger to how to design applications that look good and that behave well. And I am confident under Corey's management and also with help of Kyle, we'll be able to make an excellent application that will be useful for many years to come, and will ultimately help the students at this university and help the university itself. Next slide.
So some of our facilities and equipment include development workspace in Rexburg. Stark Industries, we operate with as little overhead as possible. The team already has the needed facilities to accomplish this project. Stark Industries workspace is approximately 1,500 square feet and should be more than enough to see this out through the end of this project. On campus, we'll also need some server space, about 3 cubic feet. Our servers, they can be stored anywhere on the BYU Idaho campus, but they should be on the campus themselves because they will require network access, and we'll need administrator access because students will need to be able to log in, and they will be connected to profiles that are connected to students. So we need administrator access there. We'll also need a maintenance crew workspace. Once Stark Industries has finished the application, there will need to be a space for someone to work to maintain the application and the server. And then we'll just need the Western Digital MyCloud EX4 server, which is the server that we're planning on using. It has everything that we'll need in a server and is reasonably priced. We're not spending any extra money here. We don't want to cost the school any undue costs. It's exactly what we need, and that's all we're going to be using for equipment. So, next slide.
So in conclusion, we just like to state one more time what our objectives are. We want to create an application that allows students to easily travel from point A to point B, specifically students without vehicles, to be able to team up with students with vehicles to get their groceries, go to a restaurant, and things along those lines. Eventually, we hope that this is the main source the main resources students would use to get their rights. And we've talked about the budget and our plan, and we feel like we are qualified and also committed to achieving the completion of the exciting program. Anything you'd like to add?
We're also very excited. We're very capable, and we're looking forward to creating this application.
We're excited to find a way that's secure for future students to be mobile.
Thank you for your time.
Any questions?
Well, I'm Dustin Dennis. I guess the major question that I have for you guys is how you plan on incorporating the user profile in the app. Like, is that going to be based off of reviews from students that have used it before, or how's that?
So I've spent some time thinking about this, and we've actually have a pretty good idea of how we're going to do this. So when the student logs in, they're going to be logging in very similar to how you log in currently to the Brigham Young University site to access iLearn your email. Okay. Once they have logged in, they'll actually be taken to a separate profile page, an opportunity where they can, their name and email address, their names are already populated there. They'll be able to add a picture, and also they'll be able to post their location, where they're looking to go, time limit, things like that. And specifically, after the ride has been completed, a notification will pop up that will remind them to review the rider, and the driver will be reminded to review the rider, and the rider will be reminded to review the driver. And they'll be reviewed on just several points, overall safety, cooperation, timing, and things like that, to make sure that the experience was indeed a positive one. So it's not going to be like an opportunity for them to go and write mean comments, but simply rate their usability and their how well were they with timing, things along those lines. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And similarly, so the school will be able to take, because we have the honor office and everything, they'll be able to take away those rights if the driver or the person who uses the application abuses it.
Or is not good with the school system.
Yeah.
similar to how housing works. You know, if you're not eligible for housing due to issues with the honor code, you can't sign up for housing.
I'm Ron Thomas, and my question, you mentioned that they'll pay, $1 or $2 depending on how far you go, and then part of that will go towards maintenance. How will that be taken care of? Will it be through the app, or could it be cash, or what? How would it do that?
We were thinking it could be tied to your student account, just like you can pay with your card, your iCard in certain areas. That would be the ideal way to pay. I don't know that cash would work because it would be hard for the school to take a cut and apply it toward maintenance. So using your iCard balance would be the preferred way, and you could either have money on your account already or just charge it and then pay it later, and then a portion of that will go to the school. And that also is a way to just another security step, ensuring that you're only picking up students here, like they have an iCard.
Any other questions?
One more. So you're going to populate the app. Once you log in, the app will be populated with names and things like that, so you can find and post rides.
Yep.
So I'm assuming the school has an API that you can use to do that easily.
Yes. Yes. They have a lot of things already set up, so that way we can use it.
Access that.
Yep. Nice and draw it over and put it in the application profile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and for your questions. We appreciate it. Thank you.